The first time, I think I was about 5.
So I would have been 16.
I was like 6.
I was 7.
I was pre-high school.
I couldn't even verbally say no.
I thought I was doing something wrong.
I thought I was the only one awake, and Josh had woken up, tried to get in the shower with me, butt naked, erect, and I pushed him off, got him out, locked the door, and didn't tell anyone.
He walks over and he asked if he could kiss me, and I said no. And he continued to ask, and I said no each time. And then after a while, he just started to kiss my forehead, and then he moved down to my mouth. And by this point, I didn't know what I should do. There was other people in the room. This was one hotel room, and there was 4 other people in the room, and I wasn't saying no under my breath. He just made me so uncomfortable.
And I just remember waking up to a man like on me, and he just grabbed me, and he grabbed me by the throat and my mouth. This man just held me down for ages and was putting his hands everywhere, and I was 6, and I hadn't had my first kiss, hadn't had anything, and his breath stunk. It stunk, and I just remember like trying to roll to my side against the wall and like trying to yell out to my mum, but she was unresponsive, and he just kept sticking his hands everywhere and choked me to a point where I blacked out, and there was blood all over my legs, and
He took that friendship to a different level, and he did it through force. And I've never really told anyone, and I didn't want to bother anyone with it, so I never told my parents. I never went to the police. Fucking ruined me, because I never told anyone, and I just internalized it all, and it was like, I don't know, just fed into this awful well of depression and anxiety, because it was just just this big secret that I never told anyone.
You know, we're just kissing and it got heated and we're having sex, and I just suddenly didn't really want to do it anymore, and I tried to stop and I tried to show body language. I couldn't even verbally say no, so I just started crying, and then I just suddenly found my voice and I was just saying no. He just kept going, and it wasn't until a few minutes later till he realised.
So I was left by myself with my uncle, and then not long after that we were just in a room with the door locked and things happened. When he was done, he kind of just pushed me off his lap, got dressed, went outside, pretended nothing ever happened, and I remember I called my parents every single day for about a week, about 5 times a day max. And I'd beg them to take me home, and they wouldn't, because they were busy with work and stuff, and it was a school holiday, so they couldn't afford to take me home. And I would call them and I would cry and I'd say, please take me home. And not long ago I went to New Zealand for a parole hearing, because we actually sent him to prison, and my dad brought up the phone calls and he broke down and cried in the parole hearing room. He said he failed me because he wouldn't come and take me home, and he can remember it, and it's been about 10 years.
He made me touch him, and he touched me. Because I have a younger sister, I had to try and protect her from him. I just made sure she was nowhere near him, and if he tried to anything, I'd have to step in, and I'd try and cop as much as I could just for her.
It was your fault it happened. I lay there as still as a rock. Convinced myself that the weight on top of me was my wings waiting to fly, I told myself that this was not real, that you were not doing this, and yet I cannot help but wonder. How many women crumbled beneath your hands for all the wrong reasons? How many lives have you picked apart in seconds? How many times have you plucked the defiance out of one woman's arms only for you to burn it in front of her? How many women replay your hands in their head, like cassette tapes that never stop rolling?
Guys don't talk about sexuality, sexual assault, anything like that, and they think, oh, it just doesn't need to be talked about.
It's not your fault. It's never your fault. Once you talk about it, you just feel so much better. It does get better. It has to get worse before it gets better, but just know that you're not alone in this. It happens to so many more people.
But I am better than that situation, and I can do better than that situation, and I can be better than that person, and I'm going to show and prove to myself, not to anyone else, I'm going to prove to myself that I can get to a better place in my life and be a better person just because I can.
You will be okay. Like, you can get over it. It's not something that will obviously just disappear, but you can use it to make yourself a stronger person. You can use it to motivate other women and help other women that have been through it as well. There's just always people there, and things do get better.
It's okay to talk about. It's okay to even just tell a friend. And if you want to take action, then take action. Just know that you'll have people there for you, no matter what. Even if you think that you don't, you always will have someone there that'll be there for you.
Cutting.